Hi, this is Rick Eymer with the Palo Alto Weekly, and we're here today with Thomas Brown, a senior?
Yeah.
Senior at Menlo School. He's on the basketball team. The team is in first place in the West Bay Athletic League, and last week he had a pretty good week with over 20 points and 2 wins over Pinewood and Priory. I know Priory was one of the favorites coming into the season. So just talk about those 2 games and how it went.
Yeah, I guess Priory was one of the games we had circled on the calendar for sure. They came in second to us last year. They have a couple guys over 6'8". I think they have 6'11" guy, 1'6'9" guy, a couple of guys 6'6", 6'7". So they're definitely a tough team. We knew we had to rebound the ball well, just get to the basket. I think we did a pretty good job. I guess the team as a whole was moving the ball really well. Joe was getting some good outlet passes, got a couple of fast break points. The game seemed to just flow pretty nicely. We played good defense.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know Joe obviously is a pretty good scorer, but he can also pass the ball a little bit. What is it like to have a guy like that running the show?
He's always going to get you the ball at the right time in the right spot. I think he's averaging over 5 or 6 assists a game, which is phenomenal. He could probably score maybe 4 or 5 more points a game, but he chooses to dish the ball to his teammates, get maybe a more open look or something rather than just taking the ball himself. And I really appreciate that, obviously. I think it helps the team a lot, just having that unselfish mentality and good ball movement throughout the game. Yeah.
Right. I know that it seems to be a team thing that you just think about the team first and worry about stats later. I remember talking to Riley a little bit about all he wants to do is get rebounds. He doesn't care about scoring, and yet he still does. So, what's the sense on the court? Is it just if you're open, you're going to take it, or is it look for something else?
It really depends what we're doing. A lot of times we try and get into our offense, move the ball to the second, third side of the court just to get the defense moving. But of course, if you see a lane, you're going to take it. We run a lot of fast breaks, just pass the ball up the sideline so we can get in those gaps, get to the basket quickly. I guess it's nice having a post like Riley where we can throw it into him, have him kick it back out to us. Opens up some outside shooting, room for back cuts and things like that.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you have a great inside-outside game just because of that. And I know that Joe's a good 3-point shooter, but you have a couple other guys that can do that too. Yeah. It's not like he's the show. That's one thing I like about the team is that it's so varied. It's just everybody can do a number of things, and you got a lot of good role players too. And when if you're on the bench and watching the team play, you got to feel you take pretty much pride in who's on the court.
Oh yeah, we have a bunch of guys who can go in there. Our defense is something we really focus on, and there's a lot of guys who go in there and their defensive energy really carries the team. I know Sam Fortenbaugh, he's a really strong defender. He's in practice, he's always the guy who's getting up in guys faces and up in them, so they have to learn to pivot with the ball strongly. But it shows on the court the work he puts in. A couple other guys too are just flying around getting deflections, and I think the defense translates into our offense too.
Now, early on in the season, I'm sure you had a lot of returners, so obviously you felt pretty good about your chances. But beating a team like Palo Alto in the championship game of a tournament, did that set a kind of a tone for the season?
For sure, yeah. It taught us, we can hang with pretty much anyone we play against. Going into that game, we knew they were a tough team. I've grown up actually playing with most of those guys in AAU, NJB, so I knew most of them from beforehand, and we knew who we needed to stop. So that was a big game for us. I think it really helped us gain momentum going into the LA tournament and then now league.
Yeah, and your only loss of the year was in the third semifinals, I think, of that tournament, which is a great tournament. You beat some great teams there, and your only loss was a team who only has one loss itself. So I mean, talk about that experience going down south for that.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great tournament. It's always great to hang out with the team, and then obviously get some good games in. The competition was pretty good. We lost to Canyon, as you said, and they were just a very complete team. And I think we actually had one of our better games that game. If Coach were to point to one game in the season where he thought we played well, I think he thinks that might be one of our best games of the year. So we were hanging with them pretty much the whole game. They got they got it at the end, couple of key plays down the stretch, but I mean, we know we can hang with teams like that, so that's good too.
Right. Now you have a rivalry game coming up with Sacred Heart Prep. They're in second place in the league. That's got to be fun too. Just anytime you face those guys, this is a fun game.
Oh yeah, it's one of those games where you don't even need to get yourself in the zone because you're already hyped enough. Playing Sacred Heart, this is only, I think, the second year where we have beaten them. My first 2 years playing varsity, they beat us both games. We beat them both games last year, beat them in the first game this year. So, I mean, it definitely started out as a revenge thing, but now it's just is obviously the rivalry and just showing that we can play at a high level,
Yeah, so that was Thomas Brown, and he does play at a high level. He was our Boys Athlete of the Week this week, and congratulations.
Thank you, yeah.
And if you care to find out who our Athlete of the Week is next week, press that subscribe button down below or visit us at pasportsonline.com.